Hello, welcome back to HT Youth Connect. This is a bit different this week because when you're watching this, if it's gone out on Sunday the 19th, which hopefully it has if technology has worked, a bunch of us are on holiday or away. So this is a kind of Youth Connect mini, and then we're going to go back to doing Youth Connect maxi as of next
Can that be
week.
Youth Connect MIDI?
Youth Connect MIDI?
Yeah. Like in between. Like a skirt length.
I like that, like a skirt length. Okay, fine. I don't know about skirt lengths. It's Youth Connect MIDI, as in the middle. And then next week we're starting a brand new series, which is going to be really exciting. And which, to be honest, we are currently planning. But it is going to be really exciting. Anyway, hey team.
Hey.
Talking to you now.
No.
Why don't we go around and talk a bit about where we are and our favourite thing about the environment we're currently in, because this is kind of funky.
I'm in my living room, on a sofa, one of two sofas actually. I have 4 cushions, 2 blue, 1 with owls on, 1 with a lemon. And I also have my Nerf gun. It's so big it doesn't even fit into the frame.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's also very cool because clearly she can't use it. It goes. You can
Whoa!
And now it's a pistol. Yeah, my housemates and I have been having Nerf wars, which is very exciting and quite painful.
That's incredible.
It's my new toy.
Well, hey, young people, I promise you that when we can meet together again, we will get Hannah to give us her Nerf gun. So that she will bring it with her and we will use it.
Or we could all get one and that could be the next social.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine? Nerf war in the church, like capture the flag.
Wow.
It'd be so fun.
Definitely going to have to ask the PCC about that. Ellie.
I'm back at home in Newcastle. I should have said that in my Geordie accent.
I'm
back at home in Newcastle, and I am currently besting in my room. I mean, I'm at my parents' house, so it's pretty civilized, to be honest. But I'm reading How to Be a Pirate, a great book. Would highly recommend. It's got really big text and lots of pictures, which is what I like. So, yeah.
What's the best thing you've learned about being a pirate?
Best thing I've learned about being a pirate. Insulting people. It's got lots of good ways to insult people, but like pirate ways, it's great. I won't use them here because you'll have to censor them afterwards, but
Great. Isabel.
I'm in my spare bedroom / study, and I have a pineapple plant. I bought it because it was yellow, and I've since realised it looks like a pineapple, but I liked it. Of course, because I can't keep any plants alive.
Good effort. It's like that YouTube sensation pineapple pen. Do you remember that?
Apple pen.
I have a plant. I have pineapple plant.
I don't think it's a hit.
That was funnier in my head than it was on YouTube. I'm in my office. We have these nice. I mean, I didn't make these. Liv made these, but we had these nice dangly plants, and I have my chili plant, which unfortunately has completely died. It was formerly my favourite thing about my house and is now a bit tragic.
I mean, that's just a twig. That's literally a twig at this point.
It's a chili twig.
All
right, go on,
with
Hannah.
the things hanging from your bookcase, are you not scared they're going to fall off and then soak your floor? I think I would have fear over that.
There's no fear in perfect love, Hannah, and I know that I'm perfectly loved by the Lord. So no, they're also there's no fear that they're like properly screwed in up here, and then the twine is like tied round, and because of the way gravity works, they don't. I'm not actually very convinced. They probably will fall if I fiddle with them too much. Right, we're gonna play a game. We're gonna attempt to play Pictionary on Zoom. This is actually brand new for me, so I don't know if it's going to work, but let's give it a go. We're going to draw films, and if you want to play along at home, you can see if you can work them out before we do, if that makes sense. So I'm going to pull up my whiteboard like a teacher.
Whoa.
Here's my whiteboard. Right, I'm going to go first. Here's my film. Okay, here we go.
Oh, it's a hat. It's a guy with a hat.
Correct.
Oh boy. Toy Story.
Toy Story, yeah! I was going to draw wings.
What
Buzz
is that
Lightyear.
thing?
Wow.
It looks
This
like
is-
an egg with wings. I
That's
mean,
Woody, and this is Buzz Lightyear.
That is not Buzz Lightyear.
Come on, guys. That was good.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Definitely
someone else can
cowboy.
go. Someone else
wait,
can go.
I'll go.
Go on, Ellie.
Wait, do I need to pick a pen? Oh, panic. I think I'm going to write in pink. Okay, whether I want to or not. Okay, right. This is my skill set. I think this.
Okay.
I'm going to be really good at this.
Okay,
oh
okay.
dear, this is more difficult than I thought, guys. Oh no, this is terrible. Let's draw.
Winnie the Pooh.
No. Oh wow, this is stressful.
What
How
is
do you
this?
do this? Why am I so bad at this?
What even is it?
Is it Dracula?
How to Train Your Dragon.
I'm really struggling.
How to be a
guys.
pirate?
I'm really struggling with
Harry
this.
Potter.
No. Okay.
What is that person holding?
Oh wow. It kind of appears in stages.
No, look, it's wearing a hat.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Got that.
And
I
it's
mean-
Paddington.
no, look, it's really obvious what that is, guys. Okay, how do I like add more stuff to make it better?
Is it a creature?
Of course, look at it. That is easy to guess what that is.
Lord of the
I can't believe
Rings.
You're not getting this.
Lord of the Rings.
No.
What is it holding? A wooden spoon?
Yes.
Is it?
Really?
Ratatouille.
Yes.
Wow.
Obviously, Ratatouille.
That is actually quite good.
Ratatouille.
I'm quite impressed.
It looks more like a mole than a rat.
Molatouille.
Weird lizard thing.
How do I get rid of it? Oh,
I have to get rid of it. Okay, Isabel, you go.
no one's gonna
Here we
beat that.
go.
Just saying.
Here we go. I mean, it was quite good, Ellie, in the end.
Thanks for humouring me.
There's some great drawing skills here, guys.
Oh, it's definitely a person.
Another leg.
Definitely a person.
Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, Rapunzel.
Wait, what did you say?
Tangled.
Tangled, yeah.
Ah, very
Yeah.
good. Yeah, you know the Tangled soundtrack is the perfect quarantine song.
Yeah.
When will my life begin? I've been reading books and books and can't go outside and Google the lyrics. It's perfect. Go on, Hannah.
Is it me?
It's
Okay.
you. You're in biz. Oh my gosh, you're doing fancy things.
Why are there stars?
Is that Ellie? Ellie's trolling you.
Okay, the stars. Ignore the stars.
Why are you drawing with a highlighter?
I don't know.
What on earth is this?
Here we go. We got a normal pen.
Okay. Ooh.
Oh, this is definitely Pride and Prejudice. Little Women.
Little Women.
You're kidding? That was literally a random guess.
Well
I mean,
done,
that
Ellie.
That
I
is
get
small
that as
and it is a
well.
woman. So
Well
there we go.
done.
It's a big woman and a little woman. That's
Good
what-
work. Good work. Good
That
work,
was
team.
really good.
I'm actually quite impressed with those Pictionary skills.
I'm not.
I don't think they're the worst. I think we could have done worse. Put it that way. You can, if you're watching this, you can aim to do better. It's actually really hard to draw with a laptop trackpad. I don't know if anyone else found that. Maybe you're all using mice, in which case it's probably a lot easier.
Ellie used a rat.
And he used a rat.
Hey.
Right. Anyway, what we're going to do for the kind of content of this video is we're just going to have a chat. This is, like we said at the start, it's Youth Connect Mini or MIDI. And we thought what it'd be cool to do is just share a bit about what God's been doing, what we've been learning, how we've been finding this time of our lives. I keep remembering the thing, I can't remember who said it, was like an American president, that the Chinese symbol for crisis includes the words danger and opportunity. Has anyone else heard that? I mean, I think actually it's not true. I think that I kind of cursory Googled and it turns out to be slightly incorrect. But I think the idea is kind of true, right? Like that there's something about this time of pandemic which is danger and which is difficult. And some of us are experiencing that and some of us are not, realistically. But there's also something about it which is opportunity. And I think actually there's a lot that God can do in this time. And he's, you know, God doesn't sleep, God doesn't stop, God doesn't kind of get coronavirus and self-quarantine himself. And he's still very much active in each of our lives in different ways. So we're just going to have a chat about what that's like for us. And I guess my encouragement for you who are watching is to think about it for you. What is it that God is doing, could do, might do in your life during this time, as we chat about what's going on in our lives. So first question for the room, how have you found lockdown life so far? What have been highlights, what have been lowlights? Let's have a chat about that.
I'll start then. So highlight of lockdown is no one expects you to go out and do anything interesting. So like in some ways this is sad, but in other ways there's no chance of having FOMO because everyone else is having an equally kind of like, well, here I am, I'm at home time. So at least you're not missing out on anything really exciting. That's the thing I'm finding good. But less good is that nothing exciting is happening and you can't go outside, which is just sad. So swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. I definitely connect with the no FOMO thing. There's something that's actually really peaceful about it, because you get to an evening and like maybe some people want to chat to you on the phone or something, but then you just have time and you can like I've been doing stuff in my garden, which I've never done before really in my life, but I have time and there's something quite like therapeutic and quite nice about it. But I agree, the downside, my biggest low light has been that my sister had a baby boy like a month ago. So I have a new nephew, his name is Joss, and I haven't been able to meet him. I've only been able to like see him on Zoom. Other video calling services are available, but I've only been able to see him on the internet, and it's really sad not being able to see him. And I feel that in a broader way, like it's really hard not being able to see friends and family, and actually like calling on the video chat is nice, but it's not the same, you know, it's not like real connection with people. So that's kind of hard sometimes.
I connect with that as well, like not being able to, for me, over the next kind of couple of months, there's loads of like family milestones, like my brother's 21 and then my grandma's 80, and like lots of birthdays, and it's really sad. You kind of take for granted that you'll be able to celebrate with people when big stuff happens in their life, and it feels weird to let stuff go by without it being marked. And I guess even some things are cancelled, like my brother's graduation and I guess his exams as well. But yeah, it's kind of weird just being in your own space, but also knowing there's other stuff going on that you want to be there for and not. But yeah, I think a highlight for me is having community in the space where I am. Like my housemates are still around, and being able to properly invest in that rather than being pulled in loads of different directions and trying to see loads of people and do loads of stuff, and actually being able to take time with the stuff that we can do and do it really well is really nice to have more time.
That's cool. You have a great house.
Yeah.
Good team.
I think I kind of relate to a little bit of what everyone said, but then also the sort of the feeling like not seeing anyone is quite difficult, but I am also enjoying having the space to just do nothing, or in my case do lots of baking.
Oh.
I've done so much baking, made a great banana loaf last night. It was amazing. But yeah, and then like I'm really struggling with space and stuff because we don't have a garden, so we're literally just in the flat.
Yeah.
But baking is getting me by.
What's your favourite thing to bake, Isabel?
I don't know if I've got a favourite. I've been experimenting a lot, and I made some cinnamon rolls the other day, which were amazing.
Wow.
And they probably should have lasted us like a week, and we ate them within like 2 days.
That's a sign of a good bake.
Oh, well, you know, and again, young people watching, we will definitely bring some of Isabel's cinnamon rolls when we get together again. I'm just going to make loads of promises, and then with a little asterisk, this may not actually happen, but wouldn't it be great if it did? Okay, cool. Second question. I think one of the things about this time is it's shaken up what's normal, and it's shaken up routine. Well, I definitely found that it has. Even like my morning routine, which doesn't really need to have been affected because I'm still in my house in the morning like I always was. But, you know, I used to always go for a walk, and routine has been changed up. And I guess routine with God has also been changed up and is different, and we can't be at church and stuff. So what do our routines with God look like in lockdown time? How has that looked for us?
I think for me, I've tried as much as I can to keep my time with God. So I normally do it in the morning, read the Bible and pray, trying to keep that the same as it was to kind of keep a semblance of normality in that. And that's been a good way to start the day and structure that. But I think I've been really aware throughout the day, maybe more than normal, of my need to rely on God in everything, because I can't do it in my own strength, feel anxious or overwhelmed, and so trying to bring stuff to God when I'm feeling it or when it's happening, rather than storing it all up and then at the end of the day praying, just trying to invite God into my daily stuff as well, has been what I've been trying to do.
That's cool.
I've been trying to add extra stuff in, because we've got a little bit, I've got a little bit more time, in the sense that we're not going out and doing stuff in the same way. One of the things that I've done, because when this all first started, I found it really stressful, looking at BBC News. So every time I looked at it, I'd be more things have gone wrong, and it was just deeply stressful. So one of the things that I started doing was giving myself a BBC News slot, but also that time is my praying time as well. So I read BBC News, and as I'm reading stuff, instead of it being me sitting there reading it and going the world's falling apart, I don't know what to do, it's I read something and then I'm whoa, I'm reading this with God. God is the one who made the world. And so then I pray through whatever I've just read with him. And I think in lots of ways it's been it's actually helped me to pray more, because I didn't used to do that. But it's also just it's taken away a lot of the anxiety about it, because it's doing something useful with the information rather than just getting stressed about it. So would recommend that for anyone, because that's been really helpful for me.
That's such a cool idea. I haven't even thought of that. I love that. Read the news, but don't just let it stress you out. Actually, do it with God and pray it through.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Awesome. Isabel, what about you?
I think in some ways my routine with God hasn't changed much, but I do really resonate with what Hannah was saying about that sort of noticing the need to rely on God a lot more through the day and stuff. And so I found I've had a lot more spontaneous prayer times where I'm struggling right now, so I'm just going to sit down and pray for a bit, or sit down and read my Bible for a bit, just to get my head back into a zone where I can focus and things. So I think that's been the main change up. But yeah, other than that, I've been trying to keep it the same as well, just as some normality.
Yeah. I think that's so wise. I don't know, trying to maintain a sense of actually the world is changing, but there's something that's fixed, which is this relationship with God that I have, and it doesn't need to shift just because everything around me is shifting in a really extreme way. That's cool, and it kind of, I guess for you guys, it probably really grounds you, doesn't it? That routine and normality of spending time with God. I think for me, one of the things that I've felt quite challenged to build into my routine recently has been silence and quiet a bit more. I found there's so much going on in my head. What do we do with church right now? What about members of family or friends who are vulnerable to this virus, or going through a difficult time, and also just frustration of this is so annoying, this has really interrupted my wonderful plans for my life. It's been cool. I haven't always done it successfully, but just setting a timer on my phone for 10 minutes, putting it on airplane mode, sticking it there and just being I'm just going to be quiet with God. I'm not even really going to pray in the sense of speaking to God. I'm just going to sit, kind of be aware of God and just sit and let that be okay, and just be quiet with him and focus on him instead of all of the other stuff that's going on in my head. And that's been a cool kind of, I don't know, cool thing to add into the routine. And I think there's been a lot of peace that's come from that.
I really relate to that as well, and just off the back of that, I find it so hard to empty my mind of all of those thoughts. And so what I try and do, I don't know if this is helpful, is to just meditate on scripture when I start trying to do that. And so for me, I just repeat the first few verses of Psalm 23 of the Lord is my shepherd, and I just keep doing it until that is louder than the thoughts. because I find that helpful, rather than just trying to sit down and be like, okay, thoughts leave, trying to like speak God into them. And then I find that it does end up like I'm able to be quiet after that, which is,
yeah, that's cool.
yeah, I find that helpful.
Awesome. Okay, last question then. We're chatting a bit about how this time can be an opportunity and God can teach us some stuff. What has God been up to in our lives? Like, what do we think he's been, I don't know, encouraging us or challenging us or teaching us in this time so far?
Yes, I've been reading, spending more time reading the Bible, and reading especially Ezekiel, which is like a proper weird book, to be completely honest. Wouldn't have picked it up unless it was like, you know. But with Ezekiel, it's really interesting because it's about the time when the Israelites, they get sent off into exile, and they're all kind of confused, and some of them think it's not going to last very long. Some of them think it's going to be like, a few weeks, then we'll be back in Jerusalem. But then it goes on for longer and longer, and then Jerusalem actually falls, and then they're all stuck there. And it's really interesting because they've got, like, people just have two main responses to terrible things happening, and that often seems to be to either despair or to be in denial. And it's interesting seeing how, like, God speaks into both of those through what Ezekiel says. To people who are in despair, who think there is no hope, there's like, that's the end, everything's gone. God is showing them that he's at work in the time. So like, even though Jerusalem has fallen, even though everyone's in exile, God is moving, he's doing amazing things, and he's at work. And to the people who are like in denial, who think like, oh, you know, life's just gonna carry, like, it's all fine, everything's fine, God's like, wake up, look, I'm here, you need to change. And so it's like, in both senses, like what Steve, you were saying at the start, it is a time of danger, but it's also a time of opportunity. And like, God is in the opportunity, like he's doing stuff, he's at work. And I've just found that like just really encouraging, because in lots of ways it feels a bit like we're in exile at the minute, and it's been cool thinking like, actually, how can I make my home in God? How can we like invest in that stuff? And yeah, all of that. So would also recommend Ezekiel if you're up to some crazy visions. Bit trippy, but in a good way.
Yeah, wow, that is cool. That's really cool.
I think a kind of similar thing to you, Ellie. I'm at the moment reading through the Bible chronologically, and I'm kind of deep in the minor prophets at the moment, which it's a fun time. But this morning I read Habakkuk, and right at the end it says these few verses. I'll just read them. It says, "Though the fig tree does not bud, and there are no grapes on the vine, though the olive crop fails, and the fields produce no food, though there are no sheep in the sheepfold and no cattle in the stalls." So though everything's rubbish, basically, it says, "Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God my Saviour. The sovereign Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer. He enables me to tread on the heights." And I think that, like, even though stuff is bad, yet still I will rejoice, has been like both really encouraging and really challenging for me, because it's kind of all over the Bible. It's like, even though times are hard a lot for God's people, God's still at work, and there's still so many reasons to praise him. And I think I've just been thinking about how hoping in Jesus, having joy in him, doesn't always mean feeling good, and at the moment it definitely doesn't, but it's still true. And so yeah, I guess I've been thinking about like long-term contentment in Jesus, so not just being content for a few weeks and then stuff going back to normal and being like, cool, we did really well in that time. Like, this is a real challenge to be content for a really long time in a really hard situation, and I think that's something we don't always come up against. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Oh, thanks, Anna. That's great.
Like, I think for me, I've been sort of more challenged in a bigger picture way. So rather than almost being challenged in the like, do as I say, not what I do type way, where I actually need to action some of the things I'm telling other people, and that I think I sort of had a little bit of a mental barrier where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely like, my hope's definitely in God, and then actually sort of reevaluating and being like, probably could be a little bit more and stuff, and just I've just been challenging myself on that a bit, and also challenging myself to not say I'm too busy to spend time with God, and actually to try and spend more time with God, because I do have more time, and not sticking to just like spending the same like 15 minutes and just like expanding it and making the most of the extra time I have.
Oh, I thank you for that. I love the honesty of that. It's so true. Like it kind of, this time is definitely stripping away my excuses. The kind of things where I say like, oh, I'll spend this time in prayer, but that's all the time I can do today. It's like, no, I actually have quite a bit of time. Like I don't have to commute to and from work, so I've gained that time, and I don't have like as many events in the evenings and things. So that's so true. Yeah. I think for me, I said about silencing, I've been reading this book by John Mark Comer called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It's been kind of doing the rounds in our church recently. Yeah. But it's really helpful. It kind of talks about like, we fill our lives with stuff. Even when we're not actually busy, we just fill it with like the distractions of a phone and media and, a really long to-do list. And actually that stuff can wait. There's a time and a place to pause, to be still and know that I'm God, like that Psalm 46 that we talked about a few weeks ago. I think I've been really challenged. Like I quite often will fill quiet moments in my life with my phone. And it's not even necessarily bad stuff. It's like, I don't know, reading the news or checking Instagram or whatever. But actually they're precious moments, and using them with God is awesome. And it takes discipline, it takes effort to slow down and do that. But and my mind doesn't do it naturally either. My mind is like, do stuff. But it's been a really helpful little habit to get into, to try and use those moments for God and be okay with being quiet and slowing down and actually processing what's going on in my life. And I think the other thing, to finish, because we should wrap this conversation up. The other thing is I'm probably naturally an introvert, and there's a part of me that loves this time where it's like, I can just be on my own and think and do what I want to do. And that's cool. But I've been really reminded, like there's a verse in Hebrews that says, let us not stop meeting together. And I've been reminded, man, I really need the church right now. And again, there's something I spoke about in HT a few weeks ago, but I think I have a tendency to think that I just need to like barrel through on my own. And actually, I think what I need right now is to reach out to people and pray with people. And times like this, chatting with you guys, times with my home group at church, like they have been super important to stay connected to church and to be able to pray and be like, guys, I need prayer. This is what's going on. And actually, like, that's crucial for me. That's been a lifeline. All right. Awesome. Well done, team. Hey, I hope this was useful. I hope it was encouraging conversation. I hope you appreciated everyone's, backgrounds and Nerf guns. And I mean, I just noticed, Ellie, you have some pretty good flowers going on and pictures in your bedroom.
Yeah, but they don't quite beat the Nerf gun though. I think the Nerf gun does win.
I mean, aesthetically, I think it doesn't, to be honest. But, usefulness, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. All right. Well, my final encouragement would be, if you're watching this, I would really encourage you, take some time, sit down with a notebook and think about these questions for yourself. What does a routine with God look like for you at the moment? What is the kind of opportunity in this time for growth, for getting to know God better? And that might be, and we've said this before, it might be for the first time. It might be like, hey, this is a time to actually find out what's going on with this whole Christian thing, and to read about Jesus's life and dig into that. It might be like, hey, like Isabel was saying, this is a time to expand and to grow and to let God have more of your time and see what he'll do. So there we go. Bye from us for now. And then next week, we're going to start a brand new series, which we're really excited about. So get excited for that. Bye for now, though. Bye for now. We should wave. Bye.